I think the thing that drove me from the beginning was the fear of failure. I come from a very long line of doctors. Anyone who's ever done pre-med, it's really hard to turn back. It wasn't until I was forced to lay down for 10 weeks, which is when I went into preterm labor with my twin, that I actually got to stop and think, what do I want to do?
Ooh,
I was completely burning out. I just wasn't stopping to think what made me happy. I
yeah.
think behind every successful person, you have to have a drive. You have to have motivation and you have to have persistence. Fear of failing is
Yeah.
not what's driving me anymore. I think what's driving me now.
Dr. Sonya Bhole is the host of You're a Doctor, right? And she is here today. She is a breast trained radiologist. Sonya, let's just jump right in. What is your one thing?
Well, so Jess, you asked me this earlier, and I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And to be honest, I mean, you know me now for 6 months, right? When do I ever answer with one word? So I kind of wanted to tell a little story. And I think that if that's okay, I think the thing that drove me from the beginning was the fear of failure. So I come from a very long line of doctors. I think it was already from the beginning that I was going to be a doctor. And so that was always kind of my path. I'm the oldest of three kids, so I always felt like I need to pave the path for my sister and brother. And I actually got into medical school when I was 17. I kind of got into medical school and then the ball was rolling. And anyone who's ever done pre-med, it's really hard to turn back. So I don't think you have a minute to think and say, what's driving me to do well? Or why am I working hard on this? You're just kind of in it. So you're in college, so you're in your pre-med classes, organic chemistry, physics, there isn't anything else. So you really don't have any other skill sets except for science. And then you're in medical school and you're around all these people that are competing with you, or you're competing with them, or you're just all competitive. And so your drive is really, you don't want to fail. And then all of a sudden you're thrown into residency and it's kind of the same thing. You just got it. It's the next step, the next step, the next step. It's not like any other industry that you can stop and say, what do I want to do next? What is my inspiration right now? You just kind of go. And it really wasn't until, and I think we've talked about this just a little bit when I first met you, it wasn't until I was forced to lay down for 10 weeks, which is when I went into preterm labor with my twin, that I
Oh,
really had 10 weeks of sitting in a bed, waiting for these twins to come, that I actually got to stop and think, what do I want to do?
ooh,
And what I think I realized was I was completely burning out because I just wasn't stopping to think what made me happy. And
right.
so that was when I first made my first inspiration board. And I was like, okay, I want to be an associate professor. I want to open my own breast center and all these other things. So then the next 5 years after inspiration board, I was really working on attaining those goals. And then I attained them all. I opened a breast center. I became associate professor. And then I found myself 5 years later thinking, what should I do next? And that when I met you, I was like, I want to do something in media. And I don't know exactly what that is. The universe put you into my life. And then you helped me have my dreams come true in doing this podcast. But really, I think now, as I think back, that fear of failing is
Yeah.
not really what's driving me anymore. I think what's driving me now in this day as a 41, almost 42-year-old woman is the fear of being stagnant. I don't want
Oh,
to be stagnant. I don't want to stop. I don't want to get into kind of a routine of doing the same thing every day. What excites me is new adventures and new exciting things. And I think for me, that happens every 5 years.
yeah.
Uh, and so that's kind of what's driving me now. It's just that fear of stagnancy.
And I wonder, now we know each other for about 6 months. I
Oh,
wonder if it's fear of failure or if it's failure is not an option, where stagnancy is not an option. What do you
right.
think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Stagnancy isn't an option in my life. I'm just
Because
way too high strung for
because I
stagnancy.
wonder, I mean, that's a thing, and it's a thing we talked about on another episode of Game Changers, fear of failure. Uh, but I'm curious, it seems now knowing you a little bit, I wonder if you fear these things or if you're just very driven. It's like, no, I have a goal and there's nothing that will stop me in between that goal.
I think it's all of the above. I mean, it's everything, it's D, all of the above. I
Yeah.
think behind every successful person, you have to have a drive, you have to have motivation, and you have to have persistence. Those are the three things you have to have. If you don't have those three things, it's very hard to achieve a success. So I think that's just kind of the background of that. And then for me, my team at work always laughs because I say this all the time. And now the biggest compliment is when people start saying what you say. I always say optionality is the key to burnout. So if you can do multiple things,
Yeah.
you're always excited. It's very hard to burn out when you have a lot of options. So I think D, all of the above, failure is not an option. Stagnancy is not an option, but optionality is the key to burnout.
And one of those options was adding a podcast and this big platform. You're a doctor, right? Is what people would say to you. And it was so obvious that that would be the title of the show. And now, as season one is coming to a conclusion, or you've gotten these episodes under your belt, what have you learned? You've interviewed other doctors on all of these questions people always ask you, and they are the expert in their topics. What have you learned along the way?
Oh my gosh, I've learned so much. It is crazy what you don't learn in medical school, or maybe what you forget from medical
Oh,
school that people ask you. I guess we could start from the technical aspect.
yeah.
As you know, well, for me, I'm not very good in technology. And it's like every time I do one of these, I get frustrated. I work up a sweat. I'm cursing. I'm like, Jess, I hate this. I wish you were in the same city as me because I don't know how to do it. And you always patiently are like, okay, pick a different browser.
I never
One,
heard her curse once around this. And if anybody sees one of her episodes, sometimes she says, "Take three." So you don't
yeah,
even know some of the
yeah.
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes that are occurring, or you're like, is your camera plugged in? I'm like, nope, forgot that.
N-
So, I think the technical thing, I've learned so much. It's really incredible to know, like, these 3 cameras came in the mail and I had no idea how to use them, and now I can set it up for podcasts. So I think that's really amazing.
I love that
Especially,
that's where your brain went, because I, as your producer behind the scenes and also
yeah,
watching all the episodes closely, I learned that I could take a natural supplement called polypodium to be able to have a natural sunscreen. You should still take sunscreen, and it's part of my routine. We just had it every day on vacation. It was part of supplements I take. I learned stuff that I wish I knew when our kids were little, if they shove something up their nose like your kids did, or at least one of them did.
2
Um,
of them. Yes.
what, 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that
Yeah.
2 of them, was it both twins? Were they playing off each other? Okay.
Twins, a
Uh,
couple weeks apart. Yep. The
that
twins a
just
couple weeks apart, each individually shoved something up their nose.
wow. And and all the things that, we deal with that. I learned things about flossing. I didn't even think about even in the ones where you have so many family members that are medical professionals, and this was
Yeah.
all the ones that are various versions of dentists. Once a day is enough, because you should be flossing after you have meals. Like, how many? Well, I eat meals 3 times a day. Oh, once
Right.
once a day is enough. So anyway, I was learning something off of all of the episodes. There's the menopause episode, even though I don't personally, am not going to go through. People in my life, including my wife, got good information off of that. It
Great.
was helpful to, and so off of those episodes, what's something that you learned along the way?
So I learned about polypodium. It also is now a new regiment in our sunscreen life as well. We used it. We were in Hawaii last week. Silas and I took it every day, so that's something new. I learned about avocado hand. I think that's interesting as a busy mom, and any moms that might be listening, or dads that might be listening, or people that might be listening. Avocados are the rage. Everyone's eating them. Everyone's using them in smoothies and cutting them. You should not be cutting them like this on your hand. You should be using a cutting board. I love the sourdough reference. I think we did a reel of that. When we were shopping in Hawaii, I used to always grab the whole wheat, but when I was shopping for English muffin, I grabbed sourdough. So I learned so much from the nutrition aspect, from the pediatrician episodes. I learned so much, what to pack. So it was so easy to pack my little medical bag to Hawaii because I had kind of gone through the things I actually need or don't need. Um, even for my husband, the anesthesia episode, just learning so much about the behind the scenes from anesthesia, why you can't eat before surgery, which I kind of know a little bit from being a doctor, but we just aren't privy to the behind the scenes that happen, like in the surgical world as radiologists. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I've learned so much.
I learned from that episode too, by the way, the anesthesia one. By the way, he's your husband. You would presumably, you would be talking about it in the downtime, or presumably not. You guys would
You
be
don't at all,
either
actually.
either
Yeah.
relaxing or
No.
chasing after 3 kids, which I think really
Right.
is what's actually happening. But I
Right.
learned a lot too, and I have to say I'm not as nervous, because there's always a little bit of like, will I wake up? And his calmness, of saying you're in good hands. Obviously, follow these rules. You're in
Right.
good hands, and if you're in good health, you really don't have anything to worry about. I felt really good hearing that. So that was kind of
Yep.
nice. And by the way, it was fun to see the two of you with your husband. Then here's some backstory. One of your top Instagram videos, I think at this point you have 16,000 views just on that one, was you, the two of you. People will have to go to Sonya's Instagram to go see what that one's about. But talking about how they met and some cute moments that popped up on there. But that was fun. I'm so glad that you made
I mean, I'm
him your
glad you think
first.
it was cute. He's basically making fun of how dorky I look. The first date,
And you leaned right into that. I said, "Do you want to keep that in there?" You said, "Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
keep
that's
it in
hard.
there."
I mean, we always say self-deprecation is a really good quality to have behind successful people. It just makes it really fun. And if you don't take yourself too seriously, then it's just a lot more fun. And
We shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. We should learn from every one of your episodes. Dr. Sonya Bhole, thank you for being one of our game changers today.
thank you, Jess. This is really fun.